Good morning, friends. Welcome to 30 Minutes with Mandy. It's Tabata Monday, and on Mondays, we do Tabatas. So the way this works is we're going to take one exercise or two very similar exercises, and we're going to spend about 4 minutes working on that. In that 4 minutes, we'll do 20 seconds of exercise, 10 seconds of rest. 20 seconds of exercise, 10 seconds of rest, until we've done 8 20-second sets of exercise. So again, sometimes it'll be one exercise and maybe for 20 seconds we do one side of the body, and then the next 20 seconds we do the other side of the body, or I'll give you two very similar exercises to do. Traditionally, Tabatas have you do the exact same exercise over and over again, but I think that's really boring, so I like to mix it up. If you find that something we're doing is a little too challenging, please feel free to slow down. Go at your own pace, whatever works best for you, okay? And if you need more of a challenge, you can add weight or go a little faster. Our first Tabata drill of the day is gonna be stationary lunges. We don't do these very often, and I thought today we would just we'd get into some stationary lunges. You can hold weights while you do it if you like. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna hold a pair of weights, and we'll do one side for 20 seconds, and then we'll do the other side for 20 seconds. And we're gonna get started in 3, 2, 1, here we go. So we get in that lunge position and we're down and we're up. It's that simple. This is a really great opportunity to work on your lunge form. So we're going for those 90 degree knees in the front and in the back. Rest for 10, and then we're going to the other side. And we're really trying to stay upright. The shoulders stacked directly over the hips, okay? 90-degree bend in that back knee, and then the front knee just follows it. There's nothing to do in the front. This is all about bending the back knee into 90 degrees, and then pushing your body weight back up. Turn this way. Remember to keep a little space between your feet horizontally. That'll help you balance better, right? So here we are. Bending, coming up. Now, if you want an advanced version of this, you can pulse it out right here for that whole 20 seconds. Don't forget to breathe. Rest for 10 and go on to the other side. So when I talk about space between the feet horizontally, what I mean is when you step back, don't be here, right? Step back can be right about here. When you step directly behind the other foot, it's kind of like being on a high wire, you know? So it's just a little bit harder to balance. Rest for 10. We're halfway through these. 2 more rounds on each side. We're ready. Let's go. Bend that back knee, bring it back up. You gotta get that back heel off the floor. If you're trying to keep the heel on the floor to maintain balance, it's just not gonna work. That knee won't bend like it's supposed to. Rest for 10. Taking it to the other side. My toes are wonky on my right foot, so this is a little bit more challenging for me on this side. So I really actually kind of rely on my shoe a little bit to take on a little bit more of that flexibility. Like I'm more on the tip of my actual toes than on the ball of my foot. On the right side, rest for 10. Getting ready for the other side. 1 more round, each side. Chest up, head up, shoulders directly over the hips, and we're bending that back knee down into 90 degrees. You're going at your pace. Maybe you only do 2 or 3 reps in the whole 20-second set. If that's what works best for you, rest for 10. And maybe you're ready for a challenge today and you're pulsing it out. Maybe you're getting 20 reps, 30 reps in that 20 seconds. Everybody's different. Do what works for your body. There we go. Rest for 10. Take a little break. All right. That is our first Tabata drill. Our next one, this is where your soup cans and whatnot are going to come in handy if you don't have lighter weights. We did these a couple weeks ago, and I really totally bit off more than I could chew because I didn't have light weights. I used my heavy ones. Didn't work for me. Today, I had cans of food. I'm always talking about it. Today I'm doing it, okay? So we're gonna do standing flies for 20 seconds and lateral raises for 20 seconds, okay? Do the weight that works for you. If you don't have any weight at all, you're still doing this movement with us, and you are really flexing all of those muscles, okay? And we'll talk about it when we get into it. Standing flies in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. So we're here. You're squeezing the pecs together. Squeeze those fists too. Keep the arms nice and straight. And try to be totally engaged here, right? Squeeze those pecs. Squeeze them together. Rest for 10. And then we're going to go into our lateral raise. Rolling the shoulder blades down the back. Here we go. Right here. So we're working the shoulders, the lateral delts, right? That's this beautiful muscle right here that makes that really pretty triangle when it's nicely developed. We stop at parallel to the floor. Rest for 10. So again, if you don't have weights or weights that are light enough, you're really still doing this movement with us, and you're really just engaging all those muscles. Keep the core tight. I'm gonna come a little bit closer. Squeeze those pecs. If you are close to my age, or maybe if you're younger, and you've seen the movie The Breakfast Club, rest for 10, and then we're back to our lateral raise. There's this scene, let's go, where Claire puts her lipstick on with her cleavage. And so that's the example I love to give when we're doing flies, whether standing or lying down. Imagine you're Claire. You're trying really hard to hold on to that lipstick, right? You gotta squeeze those pecs together. Rest for 10. We're halfway through these. We have 2 more rounds of each. Getting ready for our standing fly. And here we go. Squeeze it together. Exhale when you get in the front. I have a can of coconut cream because my fiance loves to make Indian food and he's very good at it. So that's always around the house. Rest for 10. And the artichoke hearts. And I actually did weigh them to see if they were going to be similar weights, and they are. Let's go. Big exhale right here. Keep it engaged. Rest for 10. We have 1 more round of each, and I haven't turned sideways for you guys yet in this exercise, so I'll do that here. Tucking in the pelvis, knees slightly bent. We're in that athletic pose, athletic stance. Keeping it together, squeeze those pecs. Resting for 10. And then we have our lateral raise again. Shoulder blades down and back. Make sure you're not shrugging on this, right? We lift, we bring it back down. We're relying on this, not this, okay? We stop right there at parallel to the floor. Excellent. All right. Next exercise. We are going to get into, let me look at my notes real quick. We're going to get into our single leg deadlift. Now, if you don't have any weights, you're going to be working on the single leg hip hinge, right? And if you feel the need, if you're not confident in your balance and you feel the need to hold on to something, just feel free to lightly touch the wall near you, or a chair, or maybe the stair railing or something. Just a light little touch, and you'll be surprised about how much that can actually help with your balance, okay? I'm gonna be using weights. And if you have weights too, you can do 2 or you can do 1. I'm gonna hold 2 weights. If you're holding 1, the weight belongs in the hand that's opposite the stabilizing foot, right? Opposite the stabilizing foot. So keep that in mind. All right, guys, we're getting started in 3, 2, 1. So we're here, like so. Keep the shoulder blades back. The stabilizing leg is straight, but with a soft knee, okay? It is not this. Make sure those shoulder blades are tucked back. Rest for 10. And then we're going to the other side. If you don't have weights, you're still doing the movement with us, okay? And let's go. To help with balance, fix your gaze on one focal point. Leave it there. The torso and the leg, they have to move together, right? If they don't, this exercise doesn't really work. I'm gonna set those down and just show you what it looks like without the weights for those of us who don't have them. So we're here and back up. And if you really wanna if you have more flexibility, try to touch the floor, right? But the trick is, you should still be able to keep your shoulder blades back, and the stabilizing leg should still be straight. The point at which you feel the shoulders round or the knees start to bend into a squat, that's when you've gone too far, right? We're working the hamstrings. And as soon as you start to do this, hamstrings are kind of out of the equation and it becomes a squat. Not totally out of the equation, they just become supporting muscles, secondary rather than primary. Right, rest for 10. We are halfway through these. I'm going back to my weights. We're ready. Here we go. Torso and leg move together. The torso goes down and the leg comes up at the same time. Rest for 10. Going to the other side. Shoulder blades down and back. Imagine you're holding an egg between your shoulder blades for this entire exercise, right? And you're trying not to drop it and not to break it. Rest for 10. You have one more round on each side. I'll face you guys this time, just for something different. And here we go. Find your focal point. Sometimes I get a little too sassy for my own good, and I just start going, and I haven't found my focal point, and I get wobbly. Rest for 10. All right, last round of these guys. Ready. Let's go. Almost there. Keep that back flat. Excellent work, you guys. Okay, next up. We're gonna work on the upper back there, on lats and traps. We're gonna do bent over rows. And if being in that hip hinge position for long periods is difficult for you, you can do this on the ground, okay? And then you would just do one arm at a time. You want one arm for 20 seconds. I'm sorry, I'm doing this, but I mean this, okay? You'll do one arm for 20 seconds, rest for 10, do the other. Those of us who are standing, we're gonna be doing both arms, and we're gonna switch between two different styles of rows, and I'll talk about that once the timer starts, okay? We're gonna get going in 3, 2, 1. First style of row, we're here, and the elbows are grazing the ribs, right? We're going back like this, and then back down. Back is flat, legs are straight, knees are soft. It's deadlift position. It's a hip hinge. Squeeze the shoulder blades. Rest for 10. Our second style of rows, we're going to take the weights out, right? Instead of the palms facing each other, we're here, and we're here. And here it is from the side. Squeezing the shoulder blades together on the way up. Rest for 10. And then we're back to the elbows grazing the ribs in nice and tight. Getting in that hinge, and here we go. Pick up your head. Don't let your chin tuck into your chest. Keep your spine nice and neutral. Rest for 10. I'm going to go a little bit lighter, I think. The 15s are just a little much on my lower back. And here we go. Be mindful not to shrug the shoulders, right? So we're not going like this, okay? We're here. And I'm so sorry, if you don't have weights, you'll be doing push-ups. Push-ups. Rest for 10. I should have said that. We're halfway through these, you guys. We're getting back into the elbows grazing the ribs. Back like so. So, yes, if you don't have weights, you're on the floor doing push-ups, and you can change your hand position each time. Go wide and then narrow. So right now you'd be doing the narrow push-ups, a tricep push-up, sort of like chaturanga in yoga. We're going wide again. And then now you'd be doing a more of a military style push-up with the hands a little bit wider, directly under the shoulders. Rest for 10. We have one more round of each. Getting in that hip hinge, and here we go. Back flat. This time, you have your egg back there, and you're crushing it. Break that egg every time. Squeeze the shoulder blades together. Rest for 10. Last round. Last round of our wide angle bent over row. Here we go. The elbows are more in line with the shoulders first rather than here, right? So we're here. Excellent. All right, guys. That's that drill. Have a little break. I'm going to check my nose and tell you what's next. Sumo squat. We haven't done these in a little while. So grab a nice heavy dumbbell if you have one. If you don't, you're still doing the squat with us. But I love doing this exercise with a heavier, actually I'm gonna really challenge myself and use 20. With a heavier dumbbell, we're gonna be taking the legs really wide. This is the one exercise where it's gonna be the same every single 20-second set. We're taking the feet really nice and wide, turning the feet out. So when we do this squat, we really get that inner thigh. Most of the time our squats are glutes and quads. This time, we're really focusing on those inner thighs. We're getting started in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. Feet are so wide. And we drop the butt down, and we keep the shoulders stacked over the hips. When you get down there should be like this nice little box, right? Here, a little rectangular box. Your thighs are the top, rest for 10. The floor is the bottom, and your shins are the sides. I'm gonna turn sideways for you, so you can see that in this particular squat, my shoulders are remaining stacked over my hips, rather than that little lean forward you get with a typical traditional squat. Rest. We're taking the glutes out of this. Not that they don't help, but we're really focusing on those inner thighs. And let's go. Exhaling the top. Now, if you would like an advanced version of this, again, it's the pulse. You would pulse it about midway and just keep that pulse going. That would look like this. You can keep that pulse going for that entire 20 seconds. That is the advanced version of the exercise. The rest of us will keep doing this guy right here. Rest for 10. We are halfway through these. I'll do one set without the weight, so those of you without weights can see what that looks like. And here we go. It's down and up. Simple as that. Keep those hands on your hips or move them around. Don't just let them dangle like this, right? Do something with them. Let those arms be part of the party. Rest for 10. Getting ready for round 6. Here we go. Notice that my feet are wide enough so that when I'm down here, my knees are over my heels, okay? They're not going past my toes. Have that nice rectangular box when you're down there at the bottom. Rest. We have 2 more rounds. 2 more rounds. Ready? Let's go. Keeping that chest up, taking that butt down. We squeeze the glutes at the top, but we're not pushing through the glutes like we do in a traditional squat. Instead, we're pushing through the inner thighs to get up. Rest. We have 1 more round of these guys. Ready? Let's go. Big exhale at the top. guys standing. We haven't gone down to the mat once for this, which is kind of fun, you know? We're gonna be doing a standing oblique crunch. So you'll need something heavy, right? I'm gonna use a 20-pound dumbbell. If you have something heavier, that's even better. If I were in the gym doing this, I'd be using probably a 35-pound or 40-pound kettlebell, but 20 pounds is the heaviest thing I have here. You could use anything that has a handle that's nice and heavy, okay? If you don't have something heavy to hold, you're doing a side plank, okay? You are down on the mat, and you're gonna be doing a side plank, and you can add whatever challenge you like to that. 20 seconds on one side, rest for 10, 20 on the other, okay? Those of us with our heavy weight, grab it. And here we go. It's here, we crunch, we come up. Crunch, come up. So the crunch is happening here, and these obliques are responsible for pulling that weight back up, okay? We crunch on one side, we pull on the other. Rest for 10. Then we go to the other side. So let's be mindful to keep this weight on the side and to be crunching to the side like this and not like this. See the difference? I'm kind of leaning in the front there. We don't want that. We want this. And remember to breathe. Switching sides. I have this hand up to really free up the obliques. If for some reason that hand position doesn't work for you, and I'm not pulling on my head or anything, my fingertips are just sort of resting lightly there behind my ear. If this doesn't work for you, you can put it down. It's still a very effective exercise, but get a little bit more out of it if you get that arm up. Rest for 10, and then we're going to the other side. All right, so next thing to be mindful of, we come down, and as you come up, make sure you're not shrugging. I see this sometimes, this right here. This arm is just holding the weight, and you're letting it hang there. This shoulder, this arm, it's not doing anything. All of this work, rest, is in the obliques. We are halfway through these. The next thing to be mindful of, let's go, is to make sure that that opposite foot doesn't come up. I also see that quite a bit, where it's that little, maybe the heel just lifts a little. Plant that foot. Plant it, dig it into the ground. Don't let it come up. Rest for 10. Taking it back to the other side. Planting that opposite foot. Get it in there. And here we go. Pull the belly button in. Let it help you. Let it help your obliques. Get that really good crunch on this side. And use the muscles on the other side to pull that weight up. Rest. We have one more round on each side. Ready? Let's go. Rib to hip. The rib is crunching to the hip, and then we bring it back up. Those of you on the floor doing your side plank, you can add a rotation. You can arc the top leg over the bottom leg. Rest for 10. You can dip the hip. Last 20 seconds right here, you guys. Ready? Let's go. Crunch and pull. Dig that opposite heel into the floor. Don't let that foot come up. And we are done for today, guys. Excellent work. Thank you so much for being with me. We'll do it again at the exact same time tomorrow.